all the quality settings are where they need to be, and then we can start Hollow Knight properly. Not a whole lot in terms of housekeeping and such to take care of. My God, there are a lot of people on tonight. There's some games industry news that came out. I just don't know how appropriate it is to talk about it during Hollow Knight. Running up the game now. Oh, good Lord. I may not have changed my settings from a recording. Cool. We're good to go. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a challenge here. I will try and get the housekeeping out of the way, I think. Although I realize that these opening bits are probably something that people watching the VODs will tend to hear, and the people watching the VODs will probably not care as much about this information. So I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. I've got a few obligations and things that I have agreed to, which to me are very exciting, but at least a few of them are still at a point where I am not allowed to talk about them. So I think I can keep it... I know one of these I'm okay to say there will be something that is happening next weekend that I will be doing. It is probably something that I think a lot of people will enjoy. It will not be on Twitch or YouTube. And as soon as I am allowed to give the details on it, I will. But what I may have to do, it may have to be like I announce it at the time it happens. And so if that is the case, I will put I will pre-record a YouTube video, and as soon as they tell me the NDA is done, that thing will go live, and that'll be how I communicate it. Which I appreciate is a really terrible way of communicating. I'll also put something in the Discord, but I know not a lot of people check out the Discord. And that's entirely my fault, because I just don't do a whole lot there. I tend to react, and the problem is that if people see that there isn't any activity inside of a Discord, they're not going to necessarily volunteer it themselves. And of course, Discord has lots of, hey, Cured Charlie, you're always really good at coming in right at the start. It's great to see you. Also, I know your hours are significantly shifted over, so I do want to get some gameplay in before I run off, or before you have to run off. But I did want to get at least a few of these details in. So yeah, I apologize for being coy on it. It is specifically, like, I've had a conversation of when am I allowed to talk about certain things, and right now it is, we would be okay with it, but the other partner who is a part of this thing would very much not be okay with it, and because we would rather not have them fire us out of a cannon, we would appreciate it if you would just keep it to yourself. So I'm keeping it to myself. There is something that I was given... So there's a release date for something that has been announced, and a community manager had reached out to me to ask if I was interested in covering this game. It will be coming out relatively soon. However, I have... Don't worry about it today. You're here for a while, not at work tomorrow, and I have nothing to... Okay, that's good. Still, getting a decent sleep is worth it. I have a lot of stuff I want to do after stream as well, so I'll try not to... I won't cheat people on the length of the stream, and I won't count the preamble against the time, but I may be a little bit more diligent. This is also partly because I haven't had dinner yet. But I did want to get... I've kind of... dinner has wound up pushing the starts a little bit, so I'm trying to get back into the good habits of starting on time and getting things ready to go, even if it means that there's a time to let people kind of get in and we just get the chat out of the way. So anyways, here's the thing. I never want to count on being given access to a game. I am a smaller broadcaster. I actually think by most metrics, people who are looking for... So some companies do care about like your overall level of outreach, and it actually seems to be that for most of the standard measures, I am actually now more desirable on YouTube than I am as a Twitch streamer, which to me is a little bit of a shame, because it did used to be the case that the Twitch stream was a little bit bigger than what it used to be, or than what it is now. And I would love to be able to sort of bring things back to what they were. That's a little bit of a puzzle I need to work on for myself. But with that in mind, I do not want to turn around and sort of announce, hey, I'm going to be doing X game in the future, on the basis of somebody gauging interest. If I'm given a key and there is no sort of NDA or anything like that, I'll try and give an idea in terms of what's coming up in the future. But right now it was just sort of an indication of interest from this developer. I would be very interested in covering this thing if it does come out. Well, it will come out, but if they have the if they're interested in me covering it, I think it'll be something that people really like. But in the interests of, I kind of have to appreciate that if I say, oh, I'm going to do X, and then it doesn't happen, that's probably the worst possible way of handling it, because then, number one, people are disappointed that I don't do the thing that they might be interested in. But number two, the implication is that it's the developer's fault. And obviously streamers are never owed keys. And so inevitably this winds up being, so-and-so is the source for this bad thing. And I will be honest with you, like, I do have a little bit of a rule for myself, which is if I have reached out to a developer for a key and the developer declines, my intention largely is to not give away my work. Because there are a lot of people who are sending out keys who don't have these kinds of requirements or restrictions, and I would like to, give the time and attention to the people who sort of take the shot on me. Brace Yourself Games being a great example of this. With that in mind, though, obviously I didn't reach out to Team Cherry to stream Hollow Knight or anything along those lines. That's something that I owned and I wanted to cover. So it's not a, like, I don't do stuff that I haven't been given a key for. It's not that kind of an attitude. But this is an example in terms of the Paradox stuff, right? So Crusader Kings 3, obviously I built my channel off of that. It's something that wasn't a problem before. Seemed to be a problem this time around here. And as a result, I haven't done it. If enough people were to say, I would really like to see you do Crusader Kings 3. I miss watching you do Crusader Kings 2. And I specifically would watch the channel more if I did number 3. Well, at that point, I would need to I would need to consider whether or not it's worth doing the game. The problem is generally when that sort of stuff has happened, people will say that, but it actually doesn't manifest. Because of course I go live at a certain time, and people have their own lives. They don't necessarily have time to kind of come in. And as a result, I don't take attendance. I don't expect people to show up. Obviously I'm hoping to be entertaining enough to be worth, checking out compared to other stuff that's going on in people's lives. But obviously, when I hear I will show up every stream if you do X game, it's a little bit of a hard sell. Like, there kind of needs to be an overwhelming force for that sort of thing. Just because in the end, it's an obligation that I have no interest in actually putting on people, and there's just simply other alternatives available to me. So, sorry, that was really long. All of that is to say is, it is likely that there might be another game on my list, which is the last thing I need right now because I'm still not done Hollow Knight. But it will mean that if that does happen, because it is time sensitive, because it would be a key that was given to me for promotional purposes, I may need to jostle around the schedule a little bit to sort of fit everything in. And I mean, maybe I'll just add another streaming day so I can get what I need done, or do something on a weekend or that. But I think that covers everything. The last little detail I'll mention is that Monday is in fact a holiday. So traditionally, I have given myself the day off when there is a holiday. So basically, if I don't go to work that day, I don't go to my stream job. You'll have me here at the start for most every stream for at least half an hour. Bless your heart, Kieran Charlie. Thank you. That's nice though that you haven't made it conditional on me playing a certain game, which is cool. I will. So here's the way I figured it. Because I do a specific game on each day. Like, Monday is Stellaris, Wednesday is Wednesday is the Brace Yourself games, Friday's been Hollow Knight for the last little while. I try to make it so that I will give myself the day off if I announce it well in advance I'm not doing the stream that day. Obviously, I haven't done that for Monday. So As always, it's important to take breaks because I do feel like I haven't had the day off if I do wind up doing a stream. But because I didn't announce it on Monday, I'll probably wind up doing Stellaris. Please just keep in mind, though, like, I do sometimes want to have a day to myself. And so if I don't do it, I'll try to communicate that as early as I can. I like Stellaris, though, and if I just make sure I give myself enough rest over the weekend, I should be okay. All right, that is truly all the stuff that I wanted to go through. So, let's throw ourselves back into Godhome at 110% completion. I think, what was it, 114% is the, or 112? Let me see. $112%, cool. So I guess the question is, do I want to throw myself at a Pantheon right away, or do I want to give myself some practice with the, yeah, you know what, let's just... Let's see what we can do for the start. No expectations here. I would, if I can, like to get to the final... Oops, that's not a good start. What am I doing? Well, that was a start. But yeah, so the hope here would be to get to the Sage. I don't know if I'll be able to beat it, but in this case here, I want to try and at least see what I'm up against so I can properly practice. Oof. That was going so well, too. Aww. Oh boy. I'm done. Okay, so that is definitely, that was a bit of a breakthrough in terms of strategy. So basically I need to treat it like a little bit more of a duel. I need to make sure that I'm sort of dodging into his attacks rather than trying to bounce around. I don't know if I was trying to do that before. And that will allow me more of the soul to take him out, so... Oh, nuts. I think I'm gonna get hit. Yeah. Okay, I don't think he's gonna stay down long enough, yeah. Oof, that was careless. Cool. So we're ending that on 4 masks. So I feel like the Hive Knight is something that I've got a little more confidence on. careless. I probably should try and heal off of this. So this seems to be like my healing window, and then... Cool. So that's 2 pretty good runs at the start. So I believe it's a collector next who gave me some trouble last time, and I think the big thing I need to learn is how to take out the jars without taking too much damage. Ugh. Probably should have healed off of that. Oof. So I'll try and take the chance to heal before I do anything else. Oof. I'm hopeless. Ooh, that's encouraging. I'm not out of the woods yet, but... Okay, I'm kind of lucky he didn't grab for me, but maybe that's by design. Drat. Ugh. That was just enough to mess with my heal, too. Ugh. That I really thought I dashed through him. So this is the problem where I'm playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win. And that pretty much fell apart there. But I feel like there's some momentum. Let's see if we can recreate what we did with the Hive Knight and be a little bit faster with Master Hu. Oops, a little slow on the dot. Okay. Oof, what did I think I was doing there? Oof, wrong way. Oh boy. What am I doing? Ugh. Stupid decision after stupid decision here. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. All right, I deserved it. That was a very, very sloppy run, and I seem to keep hurting myself each time I got a rung up. So, I mean, similar idea, right? I want to be as aggressive as I can. Oops. Oh boy. Thank you, Kira Charlie. Oh boy. Yeah, I was asking for that. Oh, that was very foolish. So I dodged in anticipation of his attack, not appreciating that I'd knocked him on his backside. All right. We had a couple of good runs there, and then I sort of fell back to my bad habits, but that's fine. I'm gonna treat this like it's a little more... Like, basically, I'm gonna treat it like the last couple of rounds didn't happen. Feel like I've shifted my underperformance to other... Oops. So I obviously gave up a chance to hit him there, but I'll have plenty more. Alright, that was the wrong direction to go. That was really just greed there. Okay, this one I really want to just whack him as many times as I can. Okay, that was... I don't know what I thought I was going to accomplish doing that, but... Ooh. Okay, well, I'm not dead yet, but... I really wanted to get that heal in, but if I'd just been patient enough to dodge, I would have been able to get that same heal. But of course, the earlier problems was the fact that I'm getting hit far more than I was on the earlier runs, and the best thing I can do is just... I know it sounds like... This doesn't sound like a huge insight, but like really, the trick to a lot of this is just don't get hit. Or at least treat it like I'm not getting hit. Because in the end I can just get more done with my abilities. Oh. Okay. Okay, that was not a great bit of timing on my part, but I gotta get a little bit better at identifying when those are a danger to me. So I mean, there we go. Like, I didn't need to freak out. I got a chance to heal, and Okay, that was a little silly on my part. It's not like I didn't know the bees were coming. All right, that was a little unlucky, but that was, well, no, he's designed to do that. That was me not anticipating the jump. Oh, actually, you know what? Come to think of it, that jump, his jump on top of me is actually one of the attacks that I've never really gotten a handle on, and it's probably just been coincidence that I've ever actually pulled that off. So. Okay, I couldn't have gone anywhere on that dash. That was just bad strategy on my part. I should have healed on that, but... Okay, that was very silly. This is a rare chance to heal. There's a little bit of chaos going on there, so I just wasn't paying attention to the threats. Okay, there we go. We did all right. And please forgive me, I did just get a message and I didn't bother to tell this person. So again, this one kind of has its built-in heals, but the challenge is not so overwhelming that I really should be taking damage on this. Like, this probably should be one that I get for free. I was asking for that. There's absolutely no indication that I should be able to just stand still and heal in that situation. This, on the other hand... Okay, we're also starting with the full soul vessel, so that's a nice touch. I do need to remember that the collector kind of bounces around a whole lot. Like that. Maybe I should just try and blast them on their way back up. Like that. That's an interesting approach. Like, that's a counterintuitive... It's the kind of solution that I like, where it's counterintuitive, but it... Like, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, that was a little foolish, but... Ah. Oh. Oh, hang on, that was probably the Aspid. Okay, I need to... I let that follow. Sorry, I let that get away from me. Oh boy. I'm trying to think how I could have done that better. I was kind of caught in the corner of that jump. I mean, if I'd known he was landing there... I'm sure I missed a signal somewhere. Sorry, I got a little distracted by that message. Oh. Ugh. How many Pantheons? 2, Cure Charlie. So we beat the Pantheon of the Artist last stream. I was a little chatty over a couple of streams, so I'm sure I could have got... I needed to scratch my nose. Oh. Sorry, I need to clear my head from that message that I just read. But yeah, it's also occurred to me I'm not really talking a whole lot during the stream. So I do have a tendency to get a little bit chatty. Sorry, I'm going to take a minute here between Pantheons because I'm not in a really good frame of mind right now. And it's good for me to just clear. It'll pass, but I need to recognize that tendency for me and let it go by. I'm actually just going to tab out for a quick second and make sure that I have... Actually, I just got a really nice message from someone. I realize this is not great to do on stream, but... So I'll let you... When I play a game... normally I play challenging games to... normally I play challenging games to sort of take my mind off of a few things, but every once in a while the grimness will kind of seep in. And what it will tend to do is it will, like it's a little bit like when you're trying to do a battle and you'll have to contend with, like, you know how a couple of those Hive Night runs, like it just kind of felt like I kept running into, attacks and like I couldn't get a break. That sort of stuff can snowball a little bit. And one of the things I try to do for myself is just recognize when something like that is happening. Don't deny. Like if you just try and push it down, it's just going to bubble back up again. So in this case, I want to take a minute to sort of process it. And I really hate doing stuff that's not streaming on the stream. But as it is, now is a time where I just want to sort of shake the Etch-a-Sketch and make the image go away. But I did get a really nice message from someone, so I did want to just take a second to thank them. Somebody had recommended me for a small job. Now, it didn't happen in the end, which was, a little bit of a shame, but these things happen. But I wanted to... It's just a chance for me to sort of say something nice to someone rather than stew in, like, the stuff that's bugging me. But it is actually really hard to do. So if I just, like, send messages. First of all, it's a private message, so I probably shouldn't be reading it out loud. But it's really hard to do audience interaction. So Cured Charlie, you'd asked about the pantheons of the artist or that. Like, now is a really good time for sort of open Q&A, or you can just let me know how you're all doing out in chat. I'm going to take a quick second to send off a very brief message to someone. It's basically I'm going to focus on doing something else, because apparently focusing on the pantheons hasn't done enough to address the message. And then I'll jump back in a little bit more refreshed. So it won't be too long. Like, I wouldn't run ads, even if I did run ads, but I am going to take a second here just to say something nice to someone. I did not do a very good job of soliciting comments, though, so it's going to be kind of quiet. I'll actually maybe just mention too, what I'm saying to someone is a little bit about how I got into movies. One of the things that I did used to hear back when I was in that job, because like this is the thing: if you have a cool job or something that is perceived to be a cool job, people always will ask you, it's like, how did you get into that, right? I'm assuming game designers get this a lot. And for me, the thing is that I've never actually heard somebody's story be the same every single time they tell it. And of course, because if there are a lot of candidates for something, or a lot of people who want to get into something, you kind of have to figure, how do you stand out? How do you, know someone? The best way to get a job in pretty much any situation is know someone there. That's almost always going to be that's almost always going to be like your best way, but that's also not very helpful, because if you knew someone, you probably wouldn't be asking someone else like how they got their job. And the thing that I noticed for me was I sort of did everything. Like, I took every single opportunity I could. This, by the way, is one reason why I'm not a always 100% pro-union person, because in fact the existence of the unions in Vancouver, well, in any film thing, but in Vancouver specifically, actually meant that I worked for free a lot to get that experience. And then I had the paid job. And obviously one of the things that people want from unions is that kind of protection of labor and to make sure that people aren't sort of being exploited, or aren't, being, people aren't, working for free on these sorts of things, that they're getting a fair price. I'm talking a little bit about that to someone. In this case, this is somebody who already works in games, so I'm just sort of explaining to them sort of a mentality that I have on this one. But yeah, so in this case, there was a small opportunity somebody gave me, and it's funny, I have actually applied to a few games industries jobs. The thing is that my job right now is relatively comfortable and stable. I don't make a lot at it. In fact, pretty much any other position I would have would pay me significantly more. And that's a bit of a challenge, is because of its comfort, it sometimes becomes a difficult one to sort of move away from. But I did actually apply to a couple of games industry jobs. And the real shame is that I would say, at the risk of immodesty, I really know my stuff in a particular realm. But what I do also notice is that what I know does not have a direct sort of analogy to these other fields. So what I tend to find is that I will apply even for entry-level positions and not get a call back, and it's either because I don't have that necessary experience, or possibly it's like, oh, well, you know, they're overqualified, this is a mismatch. But of course, if I apply to the higher quality one, or, you know, higher experienced ones, it's like, well, he's got experience, but he doesn't have like the experience we're looking for. So it's a weird little bit of a catch-22 that I'm finding, which is fine, because that just means that I should kind of forge my own path, or just be happy with the job that I have. Obviously, I know plenty of people who are looking for work, but they're only looking for someone that has 20 years experience in a language that was developed 2 years ago. Call back again in 18 years. Yeah, well, I did have one application which was like that. I just didn't apply to the job. I was like, you don't know what you're looking for. So again, this is not a great attitude to have. But for me, it's like, you know, you don't know what you're looking for. And I don't think it will be a good fit because I really don't handle those kinds of environments very well. In any case, I'm sorry, I'm babbling on and not getting my little message written. But I thought I would at least kind of give some context in terms of the chat. The stuff that's bugging me, I'm not going to talk about just because I'll, you know, hopefully it'll just go away if I ignore it. Okay, and it gives me a chance here to shout out Night Valian, who has since beaten Subnautica. I think, oops, not O Night Valian, SO Night Valian. I think Night Valian has probably spent like a quarter of the time that I have in Subnautica and has beaten the game. There's a couple of spots that I've gotten sort of stuck at in Subnautica. I think it's a really interesting game. But he has now moved on to Below Zero, which I was a little dismayed. So I made the mistake of looking at the negative reviews for Below Zero. That was just really careless on my part. Okay, that's 2 unnecessary hits I took. All right. I was trying to catch up from a decision I should have made earlier. Ugh. Oh, silly. Okay, nowhere for me to go really on this one. If he corners me like that, the best thing is just to keep hitting. Oh, what did I think I was doing there? Okay, let's see if I can heal up. Cool. But yeah, the Void also stared back, Night Valian. But yeah, so I sometimes like do a search on the... So like one thing I just kind of want to take the temperature of... I kind of want to take the temperature just of sort of Steam opinions, and that includes like the real jerk opinions. So I won't say like the Twitter accounts that I look at, but suffice to say, like I have a subset of like lack of thought leaders, and like the biggest thing is that they sometimes become like blog topics. Sometimes it's just not that useful, right? Like sometimes it's like sometimes you just need to ask yourself is like, well, are you really going to convince someone who's like just upset that, you know, any woman is in a video game? Like, why would you spend the time talking to someone like that? And I mean, to a certain extent, one, like these people exist. Some of them used to watch my stuff, and I think it was because I tended to have a, you know, I talked about econ stuff, which I think sometimes correlates with, you know, maybe a little bit more of a right-wing perspective. And I do try to, like, I try to be thoughtful, which will mean that I don't like, you know, I try not to, like, just take the same quote. And sometimes a contrarian streak might come off as being some of these kind of right-wing provocateurs who run around and sort of, you know, they'll kind of take on the banner of being, you know, just the facts kind of a guy. But then, you know, you actually look at what they're saying, and it's kind of awful. So needless to say, like, for comments like this, I'm pretty sure those people don't watch me anymore. But the big thing is that, like, unless we, like, shoot one group into the sun, we're probably going to have to put up with each other for a while. And perhaps trying to communicate, you know, if nothing else, just to say, this is kind of silly when you think about it. I don't always find that there's harm in doing that. So anyways, needless to say, I sometimes go to some really nasty places on the internet to find, you know, find the talking points. Ugh. Jim the Eternal, thank you very much for the raid. I'm sorry for not being a good host. I'm a little occupied and babbling on about my internet search habits. I will. All right, there we go. But yeah. Anyways, so needless to say, like I was under the impression. The thing is that if you go into a place like that for a while, you wind up. Nope, not John. Jim. You're doing quite well for yourself, Jim. Thank you to you and all of your raiders. I hope you're doing well. Were you doing more RimWorld, or I didn't? I was kind of rushing to get ready to go, so I didn't see what you were playing tonight. Well, I could check it myself. That way, I don't need to pretend like I'm not a heel. I can like be like, oh yeah, I saw you playing such and such. I just didn't watch you, or sorry, I just didn't say hi in chat. So when I not so secretly check out your...
Put it on the floor.
Well, first of all, I saw an Irrational Games. You're doing System Shock. No, that's a complete playthroughs. Your recent broadcast says Spiritfarer, and you were playing Rogue Legacy 2 recently. Did you know that Rogue Legacy 2 is Canadian? I've not heard of Spiritfarer. Does anybody want to bring me up to speed on what this is? But yeah, for those of you who... Sorry, this is like... I'm not really shouting Jim the Eternal out. I'm more explaining that I haven't watched him today. Jim the Eternal is somebody who I met through Cultist Simulator, which I know a lot of you still like, so... Stardew Valley on a boat with feelings. Hello, Hamsuda. I'm going to guess that you came with Jim, so thank you for that. But yeah, so Jim was... I think he was broadcasting before me on one of those Steam... on one of those Steam broadcasts. So that's kind of where I will know him from. Unfortunately, I feel like I am the recipient of more raids than the giver, but I think this is kind of the drawback of the... I think the Holy Trinity winds up being that Jim's on earlier than me, so I get a raid from him, and then like Night Valian's on after me, so I either raid him. It's usually been either Night Valian or Brian on the Rocks lately. I try to spread it around, but, you know, depends on what we're playing. Anyways, Jim is definitely somebody who is very generous with their attention. Clearly somebody who does not does not host based on the fact that I'm sending my legions over to his area based on the shout out I'm giving right now. But definitely somebody who I think you would very much enjoy checking out. And I actually really like that description of Spiritfarer, because I'm actually probably going to wind up trying the game, even though I haven't played Stardew Valley. Anyways, I'm going to have a sip of tea, hopefully before the Hive Knight clobbers me. And we'll see if I can finish that thought that I had earlier. So basically, the problem that I ran into was that because I was only reading the negative reviews of Below Zero before reading sort of the consensus, I had this impression that the game was actually really unpopular. And then, then I took a look at the average, and I'm like, oh, actually people really like Below Zero. But it seems to be, for whatever reason, the fact that the protagonist is voiced and it's a woman, well, specifically a dark-skinned woman, it seems to be. It's kind of leading the forced diversity crowd, quote unquote, to show up and talk about how bad it is. Obviously, that's not the full content of the review. Some of them say that they feel that the game is too short compared to its predecessor. I'm not quite sure what to make of that, because I believe it's like when I bought it, and I bought it in early access, I had gotten it sort of on the oops. Okay. I sort of bought it on the assumption that it was, oh, good lord. It was sort of an expandalone. And then I think what's kind of come out of that is people are saying is like, well, it shouldn't cost like $40 or whatever it does there. And like at that point, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter if it's an expandalone or not. You're just saying that it's not worth it for the price, which is the other problem that I have with a lot of Steam reviews, which has nothing to do with whether or not the people writing them have got some other agenda, which is I noticed that there's a genre review which says this game is good, but not at this price. And the thing is that I haven't seen anybody go back during a sale to their review and say, okay, this is the price that it's worth it now on, right? Like what I want from somebody giving a review is, oh, that's a shame, is to let me know whether or not the game is good. I can decide what price I want to buy a good game at. But I mean, this is what happens when you open the reviews up to everybody, right? Like you don't have, you don't really have people who are considering what you, the user, might be interested in. I don't know why I wasn't healing there. Okay, that was dumb. You kind of just need to deal with the aggregate and hope that your tastes like kind of align with the big group. But my big takeaway on this one was, don't go to the negative reviews only section without a plan to get out of it. But with that, I think knowing that Night Valian does not particularly care about whether or not the PDA has a woman's voice or not, how are you finding Below Zero? Good lord. Obviously, that was a costly experiment, but it's a nice one for me to know. That's the second time that's happened. I'm a person on the internet, and if you don't agree with my opinion, you are wrong. Yeah. I mean, some of them are fine. I did a review on this. I did a blog on this a while ago, because I had somebody who I think used to be a viewer. I don't know if they are anymore. But they really didn't like the inclusion of a third gender. So, like, for pronouns in the Battletech game, they gave you he, she, or they. And I believe the lead designer, I could be wrong on this, so my apologies if I am, but I believe the lead designer on Battletech is transgendered. So, to me, Battletech is a game about giant mechs. There are pilots, and there is a little bit of a role-playing element to the game. But what that third option was really determining was the string that would be applied whenever there was a pronoun in the game. And obviously, by including a he or she, it requires very little effort to put a third option inside of there. But of course, you will hear what the usual response is on that. It's like, you put resources in the game, towards pursuing this political agenda rather than, than improving the, and then they cite a bug. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really sure putting that third option in the drop-down menu took the entire programming team several weeks of heavy manipulation to figure that one out. But in this case here, I thought it's just one of these nice little examples where you're given the option, and like, because The Sims is like the biggest selling thing ever, and one of the reasons it's the biggest selling thing ever is that it basically ignored all of the assumptions about what the market for a game would be. Like, being able to do stuff that will make the game accessible to a broader number of people is appealing to me, because of course it means the game earns more, and it means that ultimately that money can be put towards developing either extensions of the existing game or whatever follow-up the game does. This is generally why I tend to like, where possible, for there to be more accessibility rather than less. I realize it's an incredibly, capitalist and very selfish reason for wanting it, but it seems to work, right? So they had made a really big deal about this in their review. I think they wrote the review when they had something like 15 hours in the game. And I checked out this review every once in a while, because I think now they're up to hundreds of hours in the game. And they still had that negative. It's like, don't buy it. The game is unfinished in this state, and, and negative, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, you seem to be getting quite a bit out of this supposedly buggy, unfinished game. To their credit, I think once they hit like the 3 digits, they updated their review to a thumbs up. But for the better part of the existence of the game, there was this negative review from someone who, clearly was getting a lot out of the game. Which was kind of the point where I decided I really had absolutely no time for Steam reviews. I think there's lots of perfectly legitimate criticisms of the Epic Store in terms of its feature set. Oh yeah, Tim Cook was testifying in the Apple versus Epic thing today, wasn't it? I should check that out. There's lots of arguments, but the idea of like user reviews is the last thing I want on the Epic Store. I'm lucky if I check out a Metacritic now that I think of it. Although apologies to those of you who really like Steam reviews. Like, obviously, my opinion on these things is not a universal one. If you get something out of Steam reviews, it's not my intention to convince you otherwise. All right, I wanted to try and get that third hit in, but. Oof, that was a blunder. Ooh, I almost jumped into him too. Okay, another chance to heal. Jumping with these guys buzzing around is always a... Oh my god! Sorry, I don't know what's been going on, but my computer every once in a while will alt-tab away from the game, inexplicably. That actually happened last stream, too. Okay, here I'm just going to pound on him until I can get free. I'm on 3. Let me just catch up with chat here. Reviews on games that took months, years to make are always going to have bad reviews, while an anime girl games that slapped together in a weekend will get nothing but positive or joke reviews. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing on this one is Steam actually has an opinion on this, which is that their view is that reviews are a representation of how well the targeted audience has liked the game. So their view is that there's an effort that a developer is making to reach a particular audience, and it's not a measure of the quality of the game, it's the measure as to whether or not the group that the game is trying to appeal to likes it. That's very convenient, of course, because Steam is taking 30% of revenues and then saying it's not our job to market your game. But that was that was sort of their deal. But this is the thing, right? Like, I have obviously very strong opinions about what games are good and what games either are not good or at the very least not for me. The thing is that I actually kind of think that the people who want, the anime girl games that are slapped together in a weekend, they're probably legitimately happy with it. Like, I don't think they're going in with any illusions that they're going to be getting Grand Theft Auto 5. So that one, the existence of those games actually doesn't bother me too much. But you're absolutely right that I do think that there is something of a culture, like a broader culture, that says things like, if you reused an animation or you reused a model, like, you've somehow cheated. And I'm like, no, actually, that sounds really efficient. I wish developers would reuse more assets because it means that they get to spend their time, like, building better things. Obviously within reason. Like, obviously, we all know that there are games where basically they got as many free assets as they could from the Unity store and didn't put a lot of effort putting it together. But the thing that we should be mad about is the lack of effort, not the fact that the assets didn't cost them anything. Paper Dupla says you were trying to decide whether to buy King Arthur 2. The Steam reviews had a lot of not recommends in the form of, this game is great, pity about the bugs. Yeah. But then you encountered a campaign-ending bug in King Arthur 1, so maybe they were right after all. Well, that's a really tricky one, too. That's actually a case where I sometimes check out streams for a game. Because, like, if it's, like, when I hear about bugs... So, like, the thing for me is that, you watch me play some early access games, and it's really clear... in some of those games, I've run into situations where I couldn't complete them, or I had to work around the bug. And while I would have preferred not to have had the bug, I was still able to enjoy and get through it. A good example here actually would maybe be Cyberpunk. Like, I didn't encounter any bugs that prevented me from being able to play the game. I did stop playing the game because of a bug I'd say carelessness, that made sure that the version for streaming, in terms of like copyrighted music, they actually included a song that was under copyright in the streamer-friendly version, and that's why I stopped playing at the time that I did. I believe that is fixed now, by the way, but obviously, you don't exactly want to be putting the life of your channel at risk when you do that. So this is actually where I think streaming can sometimes be really helpful, because you're able to see, like, is the person playing the game and are they able to engage with it in a way that, like, are they able to kind of get what they want done, basically? And I find that really helpful, because, like, people are always going to complain about bugs, rightly so, right? Like, it can be a real drag to, like, put a lot of time into something and find out that you can't actually complete the experience. But obviously, not every bug is the same. From what I understand, the latest Europa Universalis 4 DLC had bug. Like, I was affected by this bug, actually. Like, the bugs that came into Europa Universalis 4 and the new DLC, at least for me, completely destroyed a save file. Like, I was working on a campaign, and that campaign was no longer a going concern for me because the save file was just dead. So, if the existence of a bug like that, yeah, that's going to make me decide. No, I think what happened here was that that bug is actually in the game itself, so the DLC didn't introduce it so much as the patch associated with the DLC did. That is, even if you didn't buy Leviathan, chances are you are going to have problems. Drat. I gotta heal up. But obviously, when gamers are talking about bugs, and the experience of bugs can be, I can no longer play this game to, the textures are a little messed up. So like when Jackie in Cyberpunk 2077 had like an infinite number of chopsticks hovering in the middle of the screen, that was funny, right? That didn't really bother me that much. Something that could generate a copyright strike on my channel when I'm expecting it not to be, or something that could potentially demonetize a video that I put a lot of effort into, that is something decidedly less funny. And obviously it would be nice if, from the reviews that we're working with, if we could have a little bit more discernment in terms of what are bugs which are sort of like, it's kind of a service to the consumer. I'm dead. That I know about this, as opposed to just, I'm annoyed by this, but it's not game ending. And of course, everybody's going to have their own opinions about this too. But yeah, to Paper Duplic's point, like obviously, this game has bugs is not informative. If you're trying to decide whether or not a game is worth playing, the fact that the texture was the wrong color is a little bit different than saying that you couldn't complete a campaign. Out of curiosity, did you ever wind up buying the game, Paper Duplic? I'm making some silly decisions here, but it hasn't hurt me too much yet. I don't know why I'm pogoing all of a sudden. Oh boy. I'm really making some questionable choices here. All right. Did not. King Arthur 1 was crashing enough that you weren't interested in rolling the dice again. It's as much of a long story style RPG, and it's a traditional Total War-like, so campaign ending is a bigger deal. Yeah. And that's fair. I've actually not heard of that series. It could be a gap in my understanding. Sorry, I just need a second here. Sorry, I don't know what's gotten into me. I've kind of feel like I'm just sucking lately, both in terms of broadcasting and the game. So I just need a minute to reset. Yeah, I've not heard of the game, so I should probably check it out. But on the Total War note, here's a fun story. So I don't know how many of you know Alex the Rambler, but he's a big enough YouTuber that he's got, like, you know how YouTube will mail out these plaques when your channel hits certain milestones? He has one of those. He definitely derives a living from broadcasting, both Twitch and YouTube now. And when I met him, he was a Total War streamer. Now he's actually a pretty big Paradox streamer as well. So I think a lot of people like watching his Hearts of Iron 4 stuff, although he personally does not care as much for it. So he sort of knows what his metrics are going to be if he does a Hearts of Iron video, and I don't think he like completely hates the game, but I know it doesn't quite spark joy either. But what's really funny is, of course, is that when I knew him, Crusader Kings was just about the only game that I would play on stream. And he didn't really play it. I actually think didn't care much for it. So it's been funny that, you know, he's been going more into Paradox and maybe a little bit less Total War. But for me, I've actually finally been getting into the Total War series. I've completed all of the campaign DLC for Rome 2. I just did Empire Divided, and now I'm on to the Rise of the Republic. And I finally feel like I've gotten a handle on how that series works. There's still some things which I'm not like super confident about, and some things that I would prefer not to be in the game, but like I've definitely moved past the point where I feel totally lost in Total War and like not really able to appreciate the game. And for a very long time, I found it really hard to get into that series. I thought I was clever. Well, this has been a pretty good round so far. I can take a hit. Oh, what was that? I don't know why I attacked in the wrong direction. Okay, so we're down a mask, but we should be able to get that back from Elder Who. That's not too big of a deal. I should actually probably consider more. I spend a lot of time trying to heal and take damage on... I wind up taking a lot of damage trying to heal on the Hive Knight, but really this should be the one where I'm trying to recover the health. Because as you can see, there's a really, like, the healing opportunity is really telegraphed here, and it's not the most challenging. It's really not the most challenging of fights compared to the other stuff. I'm actually surprised I'm having the difficulty I am with the Collector, but I think I'm just not paying attention to the whole board. As soon as I get over that, I think I'll be doing a little bit better. Oh, that's a shame. So I stacked two rather silly mistakes on top of each other. Okay, so sadly that means we don't have any souls to take on the Collector with. Let's try and focus on what's important. Oh, my timing was off. Okay, so normally here when I try to heal, this is where I... Okay, cool. careless. Doubly careless. Okay, I'm losing control. Drat. Okay, that was not a bad run on the collector. So I also see, this is one of the big things for me, right? So I'm working on the Pantheons right now. I'm definitely struggling on the Pantheon of the Sage. And what's been happening with me on the collector, and again, this is just part of the process for me, is to be able to vocalize what I think the issues that I'm running into are. With a collector, what I've noticed is that after Elder Who, I take, usually what'll happen is, well, the collector's after Elder Who. So basically what I tend to notice on the collector fight is that I'll take some damage and I'll put a lot of effort into trying to find a place to heal. And what will generally happen there is that I will be either focusing on trying to heal or just generally not paying attention of what's on top of me. And that leads me to take another hit. And so I get a little bit more panic towards trying to do that heal. I focus a little bit less on doing the damage, and that sort of snowballs into itself. And you can actually see the really clear break. Obviously, the fight gets harder as time goes by. There's just more stuff on the screen. I think it's designed to do that, but basically, I got overwhelmed by what was on the board, and rather than treating it as I had at the beginning, which was to say, it's like, okay, there's nothing here that can harm me right away. Let's deal with it one at a time. I was suddenly worrying about the previous threat as opposed to worrying about what was currently after me. So we'll hopefully not have as much trouble on the first 2 rounds as we did before. It's still a little bit of a roll of the dice, but hopefully we can take that lesson into the third encounter. Okay, that was a little careless, but... Okay, I think I can get a heal in on here. Again, not exactly how I want to be spending my soul. My soul should be used to damage this opponent, given the fact that they're more likely to damage me. Okay, that was really careless. I am going to try and heal here, just because if I take one more bit of damage, I'm done for. Okay, so that was sloppy at the end. But not a bad reminder about the role that Elder Who has. Okay. And if I mess up once here, I'm done for. That was... I'm getting too over-eager for healing. I should just wait for the... yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take him out before I'm fully healed, I feel like. Oh boy, man, I am really not doing myself any favors here. What was that? Ugh. Gross. Okay, cool. So, we will restore sanity for the collector. I should have got a hit in. Oh, what was that? Alright. Okay, careless, but there's a time and a place to do the heal. Okay, I gotta make sure that the threat from the collector is dealt with first. Okay. I'm getting a little overwhelmed here, so I gotta... Again, I just gotta mind where I'm going for starters. Okay. Both of these guys require 2 hits, so this is gonna be a little hard to deal with. It's really easy for me to get overwhelmed by the enemies I find here. Okay. I'm not back health-wise, but I am back. I'm kind of back to equilibrium in terms of threats. Oh, what was that? I really thought I was going to zip through him. Oh god, okay. Yeah, the real shame here is that I've actually practiced with the collector, and I know what I need to do, and it's just not come together. Was careless. I probably should have made a more aggressive decision there. Oof. Yeah, I got what I deserved there. Sorry, I know this is not all that great so far. By the way, Night Valian, I don't know if you're still around, but did you answer what you're thinking of, what you're feeling about Below Zero so far? I might have just missed it in the crossfire. Oh, good lord. Okay. A brief reprieve. Oh! Oh boy. All right, so that was just a bundle of mess ups. Those ones I'm not as worried about, just because it's kind of like, well, you know, yeah, it could have been done differently, but that's, you know, there's not a lot to learn from that one. Let's see what happens. I got to see how I react to getting hit by random stuff, or not random stuff, but like the times I make small errors, I tend to feel that they can be amplified a little bit when I'm in this fight. So it wouldn't hurt for me to maybe just see exactly how I'm responding to this sort of stuff. Okay. So now I've made a mistake. Okay, that was careless because I could have healed there and I went for a low impact attack. So that one I'm not too worried about. Like, yeah, it sucks that I got hit by that jump, but like, when do I ever see him jump across the screen, right? That really got away from me though, so I'm not answering the question what happens when I make an error and it sort of amplifies to a loss. That was just me trying to get out of the corner. Okay, that's 2 that I've got hit by now. That second one I'm not as worried about because I was scratching my nose. Sorry, it's spring, so I'm dealing with allergies. Unfortunately, taking my hands off the keys during the Pantheons is not the smartest idea. So once more onto the breach. Oh, okay, that was comically bad. Not a great spot for me to be in. I should probably just turn these souls into damage rather than... So one thing I've noticed is that I do tend to hoard souls thinking I'm going to have a healing opportunity. That's probably not the right attitude to have about them. I should definitely be more a use it or lose it type of user. Because again, Elder Who is going to be the solution to all those worries. Oops, that was silly. Okay, I've had better starts for Who, but let's see if I can not throw away my run. Okay, not great. So the trouble here is I don't have the souls to heal if he does do his signature attack. Almost the end of that run. So the problem is I'm not quite sure where I am with damage on him. If I could keep things as like a full soul vessel moving into the collector, then that just gives me a leg up. Oop. Well, that's not happening anymore. Oh boy. What was that? So I might be going into the collector pretty weak. Oh, I got lucky. Alright. We're going in fresh. That was not a good use of soul. I wonder if I just limit myself to the shout, if I do better there. Okay, I would have preferred to have healed, but... Oof. Balders love giving me a hard time. Okay. It's a start, but I need to somehow get rid of the Balder before I heal up. Oh my god, how many are there? I'm still in trouble. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, the Balders are bouncing off him. That is throwing me for a loop. Now that I know that's happening, I can plan accordingly. Oh, Jesus. I really didn't think it was going to attack. Then again, I guess that's the point of that attack. Okay, so that hasn't completely cracked it for me. The fact that the Balders are bouncing off of his body, particularly when there's stuff obstructing the bottom of the ground, that explains why I've gotten thrown off on a couple of my timings. I'm wondering if bouncing off of the Balders might be a better idea. Okay, got a little scary there for a bit, but we're doing okay. Ah, oh, come on. So again, trying to stay on this tradition of using souls offensively. Okay, not a great time to be healing, but let's try it. So obviously we missed a free attack on him, but I'll get plenty more opportunities for that. Cool, that was a really good run on him. I don't necessarily have to go for perfection, I just need to go to a point where I'm sort of feeling like I've been pretty confident in handling the enemy. So this one is really just a matter of don't take damage. So I got a little sloppy, but nothing we can. Oh, all right. Well, that sloppiness actually made the efficiency a liability. Let's see if we can do better. Okay, I gotta remember that the Balder might be a liability here. Okay. Okay, they can do more than one attack in a round. That's good information. Nice. So it seems pretty clear, like, when they aggressively pursue you, they're going to be doing a grab. I believe there's 3, like, phases where you can, like, knock them down. All right. Careless. Oh, drat. Okay, not my favorite combination of enemies. I'm not sure how to feel about that one. Like, some things I think went pretty well, but the thing is that I really shouldn't be patting myself on the back for, like, normal runs of average enemies. I should be patting myself on the back for handling, like, tough scenarios where the unexpected happens. One thing I did like was the amount of damage that I got in on the collector. But oh, I hate wasting soul like that. Okay, now I'm getting a little careless. So, for Elder Who, let's make sure I don't take damage. Which sounds easy, but I've failed to do so the last couple of rounds, where I've been treating them like my health reserve. So Elder Who is one of the cases where I will break the rule of reserving soul, at least as long as I need to heal. So again, it'd be nice if I had more soul running in, but obviously making progress in the Pantheon is better than giving yourself an edge in the next round. Ah, that's a disappointment. So I know that didn't do a lot of damage to them, but not a bad approach overall. So that denied me the soul from the Aspid, but I really wanted to get rid of it. Unfortunately, I took 2 completely unnecessary hits there. Okay, fortunately the Balder showed up there. Okay, 2 Aspids does not spark joy. Good God. Man, they really want me. So I'm sort of in recovery mode here. At this point, I just gotta prioritize the stuff I want to kill, because it's getting pretty overwhelming. Like, if I miss a chance to kill 1 or 2 of these things, it gets full pretty fast. Come to think of it, probably that's the time... I think probably that's the time that maybe I should just use soul to clear out bad guys. If there's maybe like more than 3 things on the board, I should probably just clear them out that way. I think that was even something that I learned when I was practicing in that room of the gods, or champions, whatever they call it. Oops, misread that. Okay, this is getting a little silly. I'm taking like everything that was good about the last run and turning that into turning that into something bad. Oh, good lord. All right. Oh boy. I gotta get out of this rut. I think the thing that's really, really driving me on this is the fact that I see the 110%, and I know that there's just 2% away. Oh boy. Okay, so I just gotta survive. Oh, wrong way. It's a little hairy, but not unsolvable. I was really unlucky with the bees. Man, he's really good at that leap across the level room. Oh, again, misread it. I did like the aggression, but unfortunately that was aggression that led me to make a bad decision. Obviously running into a spike ball does not do anything to help my health. Okay. I think I underestimated the length of the heal animation. I got a little lucky that he chose to do that attack. I have a feeling that if he'd done anything else, I would have taken the damage. Then again, I was rightly punished, so... I genuinely don't know if jumping or dashing is a faster response in some cases. What? Oh, I'm mad that you can get hit in the death animation. I'm calling shenanigans on that death. That is a real shame that I have to avoid healing if he's spat up his bees. I could have sworn that we didn't get hit at one of those previously, but anyways, it's information for the future. I just wish I didn't have to give up the run to learn it. Okay. There's a couple of careless moves there, which I'm gonna have to try and recover from. So healing's obviously a much bigger deal now, given that it's whether the run lives or dies. All right, a little bit better there. So I don't know. I get the impression there's more than a few Hollow Knight fans, or at least there used to be. I think at this point people are getting tired of me failing at the Pantheon. I read in the Brace Yourself sort of Clark Tank discussion forum that Hollow Knight actually started off as a game jam game. Does anybody know if this is true? Because if it is, I'm actually fascinated by that origin. Just because when you think about it, right, like there's a lot of things that make this game very good and a lot of sort of polished features, but what I want to know is what was the current... So like clearly so much of this is very beautiful art and animation, and so what I want to know is like what was that core in the game jam game that became that became this much bigger project, or was it the fact that it was sort of always intended to be something bigger and the game jam game was just sort of a proof of concept to see if it would turn out? Mind you, I also don't 100% know how this sort of stuff works, so it may be that I'm breaking these into less meaningful categories. So that was definitely a clear out an enemy attempt. Not a very good one because it took damage, but... Situation where you want to Google... I mean, if it's just a Google answer, I can find it myself. I was just curious if somebody already knew. I mean, you can if you want. It's just, you know... it's a chance to sort of hear what you all think. Actually, this might be not a bad time for me to, to cover that stuff. The thing, like, so the backseating stuff, we'll leave that aside because I've ranted about it enough. The thing that, I guess the thing that always turns me off about the Google, so there's the one, which I don't think people do here, but like, there's the one where it's obviously somebody didn't know what they were talking about, but they did a search and then became, an expert on the issue. But like that's, that's not really what I'm worried about here. The thing that I always find a little tricky about the Google answers are just, it's a chance, like, a chance to be able to talk about stuff in chat is, it's an exchange with people. Obviously, when you have a conversation with someone, you kind of get to, take the measure of them and sort of find out what they're interested in. Whereas if you just get something, it's a little bit like when you talk about politics with someone, if you are the sort of person who talks about politics, and the only thing that your friend kind of has to say is what was in the latest John Oliver segment. Like, I don't know, I like watching John Oliver. It's, funny, and I think, like, as a whole, like, I think it's clear that they make an effort on a lot of the research. It doesn't mean that it's, flawless. It's not a substitute for, like, carefully reading on something, but it's, compared to other segments, I feel like they do a good job. But of course the drawback is that when you have a conversation with someone and you're just sort of having that conclusion sort of repeated to you, particularly as if it were their idea, it ceases to be a conversation with the person. It's a conversation about, like, what we saw on TV, except that, like, there's this illusion that that's not what we're talking about. So that's really the only reason why I don't, like, it's a chance for people to be able to discuss discuss and put a little something of themselves into the chat. Whereas, just kind of reporting a fact from an external source is, again, like I don't want to like actively discourage it. If that's how you want to participate in chat, that's fine. It's just, sometimes, like so this is the one way I'll bring the backseating thing back in. I get that in some cases backseating is people's enthusiasm for the game manifesting itself in a way that isn't the most positive for me as a broadcaster. And so asking questions like that is a chance, for me at least, to be able to ask an audience of people who are really involved and invested in a particular game, to be able to share something. So it's a little bit like me talking about Stanley Kubrick. If somebody said, Stanley Kubrick was a really greedy guy. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of, I've heard that. It's like, where did you get that from? One of the answers someone might say is like, oh well, if you hear the Malcolm McDowell interview with, for Clockwork Orange, you sort of find out that he and McDowell would play a lot of ping pong during the ADR session. So this is basically for whatever reason the recorded dialogue wasn't what was wanted for the movie, and so people are recording replacements. Apparently McDowell's agent sort of called him and said that he wasn't... so yeah, they're playing a bunch of ping pong and then getting the recording done and so on. And the agent calls McDowell and sort of says like, hey, you haven't been paid for these ADR sessions or something like that. So he brings it up with Kubrick, who gives him like a partial payment and sort of explains, this is for the ADR, the rest was ping pong or something like that. Now, I mean, whether or not that translates to greed or business savvy or whatever, there's kind of a normative claim being made there, I suppose. But obviously, in that case, obviously facts need to come from somewhere. But in this case, this is a chance for you to be able to share an anecdote. And obviously, if people haven't seen, that interview, you get to learn a little bit something. You get to learn something new. And this can be contrasted with another really common thing that you'll hear about Stanley Kubrick, which was, things like, he would never drive. He was afraid of dying, so like he would never drive or something like that. And that's actually not entirely true. He had like a number of really high performance cars. Total recluse. You could never get in touch with him. Like Jean Le Carré didn't really have that hard of a time reaching out to Kubrick. Although I also think he was probably a little more resistant to doing interviews and sort of, I think probably relative to maybe the access that other people would give, would be probably those stories are coming from there. Anyways, so the thing is that there's lots of stories of sort of Stanley Kubrick as this Howard Hughes kind of figure, which, so far as I can tell, wasn't really the case. And of course, if you have a conversation with someone about Kubrick and you hear a lot of those, sometimes that can be a little discouraging because you sort of, as a fan, will know that sort of stuff isn't entirely true or necessarily fair to the filmmaker. So yeah, that's kind of where that comes from, is just getting a chance to have, having fans communicate their interest and be able to share a lesser known fact is, I'm sort of, where I can, I like to try and enable that. Okay, I'm in quite the pickle here. So So there's a chance for healing, but it's going to be a... Oof. Alright. I was gonna... It's probably not gonna make it out of that one. So yeah, I think I've failed to appreciate how overwhelming that segment gets when I'm restricted. Ugh. Good lord. I'm sorry, guys. I know this probably isn't very fun to watch. Oh, why am I trying to heal? Well, now I need to. That was just screw-ups all over the place. I'm really questioning, like, I know I said I was going to use who is the chance to heal. The thing is, early enough in this fight... Oh, man. Early enough in this fight... Thank you, Paper Tubeless. Early enough in this fight, and I feel like I need to do it. I was really hoping by at this point... So I'm like 2 hours into the stream. I was hoping that I would at least have gotten past the Collector, if not at the first break here. Because one of the things that I'm trying to do right now is get to the point where I can practice on some bosses. But the thing is I don't even know, like, I know less than half of what I'm up against. And I'm bugged that I let an earlier message really get to me. Like I've sort of dismissed it, and like every once in a while it kind of like there's just that little bit of annoyance that kind of comes back. It's really hard to shake. Like I tried to take the time to, you know, acknowledge it and move on. But it kind of... Oh, that would have been masterful. And then I snatched victory from the jaws... Or sorry, the defeat from the jaws of victory. Alright, I deserved that one. I took leave of my senses. A little premature, but we're at least back to full health. was a little careless. One thing I'm trying to get a little bit better at on this one, and I get it like 80% of the time, I think, is not actually having to look at, like not having to look at my character to sort of know where they are on the screen for the dodging. And most of the time it works, but there have been a couple of times where I sort of get caught unawares. Okay, so again, there's nothing special about the Collector. I sort of know the parameters of the fight. It's just a matter of taking it home and learning some important lessons. And again, I think that this might be one where a lot of early aggression will benefit me. Okay, that's not great, but... So obviously that could have been a heal, but... Okay, that was unlucky, but... Oh, that sucks. I really wanted to try and sneak out another heal there, just because of the rather infuriating bit of damage I took there. Okay, we're back to even. So at this point I should probably prep for phase 2. Okay, that's a little unlucky. Okay, so there's still Balders, and they are going to be... Okay, now, I can really get easily overwhelmed here, so... Lots of aggression. Even if it means that I have to use magic to clear out the riprap. Okay, unlucky there. Okay, this is probably it, yeah. Overall, there were some okay ideas there. What I should have done on that one, because it was really clear that it was getting bunched up, if I had dashed to the right, turned around and done the Vengeful Spirit, it's possible I would have hit the Collector, but more importantly, it would have given me a blank slate for the next round of enemies. The fact that my nail is restricted, and as a result I can't rely on sort of doing a one shot, one kill approach is it's a lot more of a disadvantage than I thought at the time. I tried to heal, but yeah, that was dumb. That was yeah. The thing that really just makes me kind of cry a bit on the... I feel like I'm okay at sort of identifying the distances in which I'm allowed to do certain maneuvers. But then there'll be like really basic stuff like not being able to identify when a... Oh, that's a pity. Oh, God. I guess this is why I didn't turn and do the Vengeful Spirit. Whenever I try and do like an emergency turn, It always winds up going the wrong way. Sorry, there was something I was going to say, but I lost it, so let's focus on Elder Food. Get a little bit of recovery, and then... I probably should have healed off of that. So that was obviously a pretty risky heal for me to have done there. As it turns out, I screwed up on the other. So I think as long as I'm decisive on when to do the heal, I have enough time to do a dodge. If I sort of haver a little bit, I pay for it in blood. Okay, so we're starting. We're starting off with every advantage at the start here. I am going to open with the Vengeful Spirit, so that's more damage than what a single hit's going to do. And then I get the 2, sometimes 3 follow-ups. Yeah, I feel this opening phase, I have something of an idea of how to handle it. Obviously, there can be the question in terms of what kind of enemy I'm up against. Okay, that's a little unlucky. Okay, lucky. Oh, please continue this dance. That was really good for damage. Oh, that was really shameful. Oh, that could not have been worse. Because of course now we're coming into the real challenging bit. Oh boy. Yeah, I got overwhelmed again. Keeping track of how to handle my soul for the 3rd phase. I'm not quite sure how to handle that yet. I think the Balders are probably the ones I struggle with the most. So one thing that I don't always take advantage of is the fact that you can hit one of those flying bees for soul. Oops, I didn't read him right. So it's a little risky, right? Like if you don't position it right, you're gonna take damage instead. Cool. But it's a nice little way of getting some extra, particularly given how much more damaging Soul is on a relative basis. Okay, that was a little unlucky. Oh! So I walked into 2 points of damage. One I can put... Okay, so I'm about to kill this run. Hopefully I've got enough hits left on Elder Fu to... There we go. Okay, sloppy, but we got through it. And again, the early collector rounds, I think I've got sort of down. We'll hit him with the Vengeful Spirit as soon as we can. Although, from the voice, it sounds a lot like a she. Or a her. I gotta get my positioning down a little bit better on these. That's a lot of unnecessary damage that I'm taking. Right, I gotta stay behind. Okay, I gotta do something to heal. Nope. I panicked. So, I'm not learning fast enough on the Collector. I can think of one very good lesson that I need to learn. It's nothing to do with the amount of damage that I do. And I've really not had the time to spend any of my own time on this. So obviously that probably means that might be one of the reasons why I'm making such slow progress. But I think the time has come for me to... learn some real lessons. So that's the sort of stuff that I'm trying. Like, so the drawback here, of course, is that with the weapon I have, I'm still one-shotting the ads. So this is still a little bit easier than what I'm dealing with. But a Radiant win here means that I'm no longer going to get surprised by stuff coming from on high. Like, I'm either going to get exceptionally lucky, or I'm finally going to learn to, like, not risk my life on uncertain benefits. So that's a pretty good example of how... So the answer on that would have been to dash into it. Well, even dashing away, but dashing into him would have got me behind. So again, how have I failed each time on this? Every time I haven't gone behind the Collector. That was me dealing with an ad, but... Oh, that's an interesting idea. So what if I don't use any magic except to deal with... Nah, because it doesn't really work as well if I've got a limited quantity. Like, for this, sure. But Like, it's not like I'm gonna be able to get a reserve in the Pantheon. Okay, so that was. So that one's obviously a bit more of an ambiguous case because, oops, I'm not going to be able to do a single hit on a Balder like that. Okay. Gotta remember to stay behind the collector. Again, I gotta remember to face my opponent. This should be where it gets really exciting. So I should really be looking forward to those times when I'm really close to them. But I tend to get panicky, so... Some of the more erratic movements do kind of freak me out a little bit. Oh! I dropped the ball on that. Yeah, some of the more erratic movements definitely weird me out. Like, he has a pretty consistent jump, but every once in a while there's a longer range one, and it really throws me. Alright, thank you very much. Managed to drift off for a while. Thank you very much for hanging out here, Charlie. I know it's not been the... Well, sorry, that kind of disrespects what... Again, stay behind him. Stay behind him, stay behind him, stay behind him. Kind of disrespects what Paper Dupla said on having fun. I sometimes find it hard to shake, and it's a mentality I really try to discourage, even though I'm sort of falling into it myself. The idea that you can't have fun unless you're making progress. And obviously I think the same should apply for viewers as well, but the thing is that I can only know my own intentions, not viewers. So I hope it was a worthwhile visit, Cured Charlie. I really do appreciate you hanging out for as long as you did. And hopefully next time I see you, I'll be able to report some progress on this Pantheon. Okay, all my first rounds should be like that. Like, there's no excuse for me to have anything other than a first round that looks like that. Supplemental ones, because I'm dealing with lots of enemies coming in, sure. Well, hopefully it was a pleasure while you were asleep as well and you just weren't aware of it. But yeah, have a great sleep, Cured Charlie. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know if you have a long weekend like I do, but even if it is just the standard 2 days, I hope it's a fun and a productive one for you. I really feel like, because I've been moping around about the message a little bit earlier on, think I should throw myself into a project. I've got like a few that I've been working on, but I think I should force myself to do something that's not like streaming, and kind of get myself out of feeling sorry for myself. I already thought I was so used to being in Radiant mode that I thought I had to reset the fight. That's a good mentality to have, though. Well, not in like everything in moderation. Obviously, don't like give up on the run because you took damage, but. Nuts. So I'm only 1 health down. That's not like the end of the world. So again, just banging out a little extra soul from the. I think one of the I get that so the developers are probably right in making it if you connect with the boss you take damage. It is really weird to have a boss stunned that still damages you. Like, the game has never communicated anything differently to me, and yet every time I still keep running into a damaged boss. Or into a weakened boss. Oops. Okay. I was careless, but that's not like the end of the run. Mistakes like that, on the other hand, are... Like, at this point, I should not be misreading what direction to dash in. This is just such an obvious chance to heal that. Oops, tried to jump instead of dash. I feel like I got shortchanged on that dash. Like, it just feels like it didn't go as long as it should have. So I'm not crazy about the mid-fight healing that I'm doing, but it's to get me out of the one mask, which is pretty much a death. Also, given the amount of time that I have left, it may be that we haven't made significant progress here. I'd really like to have at least one good run on the Collector, seeing as we did just get past the Radiant. But we'll see how it goes. Oh, that's interesting. So you can get a sneaky soul attack in before their stun takes effect. One of the things that I always find so interesting is I can pull out rounds like that and just follow them up with ones where I die on the first phase. Okay, that was a little careless. That was a lot careless, actually, but I'm trying to be nice to myself. Oops. Dash, don't jump, my friend. So I'm just gonna try and save the souls. Ugh. Yes, continue this. Okay, that was kind of a safety. That was a safety vengeful spirit. So I got in front of the collector there. That was a chance to take damage, but yeah, I wish I didn't waste it like that. But so that was a wasted vengeful spirit for literally no benefit. Nice. I probably should have saved that vengeful spirit for clearing out ads, but okay, not great, but we can recover from this. Questionable whether or not I should have used that for healing, but oh, that sucks. Man, that's a brutal window. A little less carelessness, I feel like that would have been one where I took him out. I mean, obviously I'm still sort of struggling with that fight, so being able to get it once, unless I can clear out the rest of the Pantheon in one go, like, I'm still going to need to improve. But obviously knowing that I've beaten the Collector at my reduced capacity, that's just a little reassurance, I suppose. Okay, not great, but I can recover. Okay, this is getting a little careless. Oh. I really read that wrong. Oh, I got lucky. Alright, well, I can't be too upset. Okay, that, not so good. I can't be too upset about getting hit by one of the bees there, because, like, that definitely had a pretty merciful run. Alright, that was completely me being an idiot. Sorry, I really need to stop with it. It's a minor thing, but, like, I really need to stop calling myself an idiot for minor infractions. Like, it's a game, for crying out loud. I don't get to keep the souls at the end of the game, like. Okay, I'm starting to get a little silly, so let's just take a minute here. I should, of course, use it as a chance to be more aggressive, but, you know, that was a chance for a heal. A pretty obvious one. Oops. Okay, that was just me not really reading the situation all that well and kind of falling apart. So let's get a heal in before we end the fight, and hopefully we can start with an early advantage on the collector. So I won't use any more magic to take him out. Wow, that was the right call. If I'd shouted right at the moment there. Excuse me. So that was partly about getting rid of the Balder Shell that was on its way. Unfortunately, I really made a mess of that. So if I can, it'd be nice to find a spot to heal, but I gotta be careful about the opportunities I take. Okay, so this is definitely a case where using my magic to get rid of something that could damage. Well, okay. I thought the Aspid would have been killed out of that. So yeah, I definitely have a different idea of how I think about magic during the collector fight, especially because it's so scarce. The ability to remove something that can damage me is probably much more important than the ability to recover. Even if I'm down a couple of masks, I think the one case where I'll do a heal and I'll, you know, under any circumstances is when I'm at one mask, just because obviously at that point the margin for error is so small. Oh, well, I was gonna get hit by one or the other, so. Oh! Again, another case where I thought I was facing the wrong, or the other way. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna heal off of this no matter what. Oh, well, at least I got the heal in before it hit me. Too hasty. Didn't take a look at the direction those other ones were coming in. Okay, so not enough to heal. I better hope I know how to. Okay, well, I think that risk was worth it, but. Oh man, I am sabotaging myself on this one. Good lord. So I'm making the same mistake on this one. It's clear I've gotten a bad idea in my head, but whether I shake it in time to not... Even if I don't go in with full souls, I just need the one more heal and I'm... By the way, I shouldn't be dashing in midair like that, because that will possibly just throw me into one of the rings, but... I'm sorry. My nose has been itching pretty much all stream. Okay. Hopefully, that's the end of it for a little bit. I also hate doing it mid-fight because he could be in the middle of an attack like he was there. I'm obviously reluctant to use magic to damage him just because I'm not sure where I'm at overall damage-wise. But it's also not that bad to just get the patterns down. Okay. Collector. That was a safety Vengeful Spirit. I would have preferred to have used it otherwise, but... Okay, not great. I was focused too much on the Aspid. The Aspid is not like 10 feet tall, it's not gonna... Okay, that's not great. Oh, come on! Not great. Unbelievable. I'm not optimistic, but let's see how we do. Oh, why did I dash? This is really sloppy. Let's see if we can recover. I said the sloppiness needs to end! Okay. That was close to being what it needed to be, but I kind of let everything run ahead of me. I didn't think I was going to have a healing opportunity. That was kind of a waste. But who is the healing zone? So let's make sure I treat it that way. Okay, that cost me everything. I used up all the souls and didn't get the heal. The funny thing is, that was one of those cases where I should have known better too. Because it wasn't like at the start of the attack. I healed for no reason at all. So that's like I try to be as open as I can in terms of my thought process on this, but that's actually one of the bigger signals to me that I've really lost the plot as far as the fights are concerned. As soon as healing becomes as reflexive enough that I do it when I'm at full masks, it means that I'm not thinking about the fight anymore and I'm panicking about my health. The problem is that when I get to that phase, like it's already a problem. What I need to do is identify that thinking before I get to the point where I'm wasting souls on it. That was a waste. Although one of the rare cases where I went in front of the collector and didn't suffer for it. So maybe the question is just keeping momentum in terms of my movement. So again, that was kind of a cleanup hit. Oh god. Would have been nice to do more damage on the collector, but... Ugh. So, going in with 1 health on phase 3 is not my idea of a good time, but... Oh man! I dealt with those ads pretty well, I thought. Mind you, it's all gotta work in unison, or it's like doing 3/4 of a good job on this one is as good as just not having done it in the first place. So. This is such a stupid thing to do. I even knew that I couldn't. I think I've trained myself to commit to heals just on the chance that they work. And in this case, it's resulted in me committing to bad decisions. Oh, God! He does. I kind of feel bad about it. And then the B-ad nonsense happens, and I actually don't feel so bad about it anymore. Anyways, we should be able to get out of this. I'm gonna be a little less cavalier with some of my heals, but... that would have been a good time to do the heal, obviously, but... Oh, I really thought I had that down. Whoa! Okay. I don't know if I'm misreading what's on the screen, but I obviously got hit by a bunch of rings that I didn't think were in a spot to hurt me. Only I could have got that third hit. Okay, that was silly of me. Ugh, the foreground is a traitor. Are you kidding me? So I really thought I hit that with my nail. Ah, that was a rage vengeful spirit. There was no tactical benefit to that. That's a heal that I just lost. I can't take my fingers off the keys. Let's see if I can recover this. Sorry, I'm starting to... I need to calm down. It's a game. I think this is the third phase. I can't remember. Yikes. I mean, it was, in my opinion, that was worth the risk. I wasn't sure where I was going to get my health elsewhere. It's just a shame that I created an opening like that. I think I need to come up with a better way of identifying my safe spots for healing, or just not get hit as much. Because you can really see, like, when things start really happening, I do clearly panic. Like, just looking at the play, it's really obvious when I'm not making good decisions based off of a health level. I'm spending too much time looking at the spines. Well, one of the reasons I'm not making the progress I want is I'm not using magic offensively. I'm using it to fix my mistakes. I deserve that. Ah, that was going all right, but one hit's not the end of the battle. Okay, that was a little silly of me. Okay, that was not the right call. The nice thing is that the third phase for the Hive Knight feels very short. I don't know if it's just because I have a lot of magic that I can work with, or if there's something else that makes it relatively easy. All right, I didn't pay attention to my own advice on this fight. Ah, right around the time I start using souls offensively, I need them for healing. Unbelievable. Why can't I hit him? All right. That could have gone bad, but... Okay, all the rounds have got to be like that. So obviously that was kind of an emergency Vengeful Spirit just because I was getting a little overwhelmed, but we can recover from this. The fact it's an Aspid kind of helps me. Okay, I wasn't sure if there was a third. Oh, not good. Okay, either I miscounted the number of rounds or there's more than I thought. Okay, I'm having a little hard parsing what's going on the screen. Yeah. I was a little worried in the end there because I was having a hard time tracking where the Balder was. But overall, I don't think there's a lot to be sad about there. I think as far as the showing is concerned, I think I actually did a pretty good job compared to what I did earlier. Obviously, I still need to get a win, but I feel like that was for the most part how I would like future runs to be. Oops. Again, taking the opportunity to do the damage where I can. Okay, that was a little careless, but we can get past it. Alright, I'd prefer to be going in with more than one mask, or I guess I have two, but we got it. Just give me my hit, man. So the reason I try and do some of those sneaky heals in between is just a chance to get a heal in and then have 3 for when the sort of the main reset attack comes in. Sorry, reset attack probably isn't. I'm talking about this one. Okay, this is me getting very silly again. Alright, it would have been nice to have full souls, but... Oh. Oops. I don't think we're ready for 3 yet. Okay, this is getting careless. Ah! I really thought I was clear of him. Okay, not good. I probably shouldn't have healed while they were off the screen. Pretty much every time I heal and they have a chance to come in with a big hit like that, they pretty much always do it, so... And of course, that's one of those rare cases where I don't get a feel for the timing because I'm not doing that action in a Radiant run. I almost dashed into him. That last cheeky one. Okay, so I gotta dodge the bees while the monitor's completely covered, but there we go. It's obviously no healing here. It's the priority would be to preserve enough souls to take to the collector. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse not to go on the offensive with magic. The thing is, like, basically any collector when I get should not be dependent on starting off with souls, because that's not guaranteed. Or at the very least, that puts a lot of pressure on a fight that should be sort of my little island of rest if I'm feeling really stressed out. Obviously, this one still delivers its stresses sometimes, but overall, this should be the one that's kind of the most, the one with the fewest surprises. Oop, I got a little overzealous on the magic there, it looks like, but... Oops. Oh, I think I could have survived anything but a Balder showing up on that. So I really wanted to try and heal off of that, but... Okay, overall, not terrible damage mitigation-wise. That wasn't so good. I'm okay. Oh, not so good. I really don't have a good answer for the aspids that pop out of their jars firing. It did obviously fall apart at the end, but that was not a bad lesson in mitigation. So I will confess, I am kind of at the time that I would have wrapped up. Although, I seem to be 44 minutes... Did I really get started very late tonight? So I just want to take a second and confirm the time. So I just want to check my tweet. It doesn't give me the exact time. I thought I got started a lot earlier than I did. So yeah, I mean, it's not a full wrap up. I know most of you probably have already figured out it takes me a really long time to finish this stuff anyway. But I am kind of in wind down mode. I'm hoping to end on a big triumph, but sometimes you just gotta learn. We're not going out on that note. focus, sorry. Not so good. I should have healed earlier, but maybe... Nope. Okay. Let's get that focus back. So just because it started off rough doesn't mean it needs to be a bad run, so... Great. That heal I did earlier, by the way, could become a bad habit. I should never do a heal like that, even if I'm just down to one mask. That easily could have been the end of the run there. It's one of these ones where, like, just because you got away with it once doesn't mean that... Yeah. It doesn't mean that you want to turn that into a habit. Oof. I'm really starting to get sloppy on food. So one of the reasons why I wanted to sneak in a heal there is I don't know how much more damage I have on him. Okay. So obviously it's a boss fight, right? So I'm always going to try and do the damage that I can. Oh, that's a pity. Yeah, so you want to do the damage that you can because obviously extending the length of the boss fight... Okay, that worked out well. Extending the length of the boss fight is just a chance for you to take even more damage. I'm gonna miss a chance to do some extra damage. So I should have done 2 hits there, but didn't quite turn out. Not great. That was a wasted vengeful spirit. Oh, that's a tricky one. I gotta think. Those ones I always find hard because it's... I'm not quite sure how I protect against that in the future. Alright. Not great, but I'll manage. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, I was probably targeted, so... Getting careless. So this is one of those rare cases where the Balder bouncing off of the boss actually is helpful. Unfortunately, I messed it up for other reasons. Oh, this is a nightmare. Alright. Not out of the woods, but better than before. I'm done. Oh well. mild progress on the collector, although I'll be honest with you, I would have preferred that a stream come away with a little bit more than that. I think that's it for me tonight, though. It's actually a little bit... I was going to try and go for a bit longer, but I did not realize how late in the evening it was, and I really need to do something to get my head in the right spot. So I don't know how many people are watching right now, but I did want to take a minute and say thank you for hanging out. Twitch puts a lot of effort into making you feel... I don't think your Charlie's around to hear this, but I got a very nice message from them. That does make me feel better. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's not been a great night for me for other reasons, and Twitch does a really good job of creating a mentality where you assign value to yourself based on how many people are watching, and it's not a good mindset to be in. One of the things that is, I think, sometimes challenging, though, is you can hear from people, oh yeah, I love your stuff, or, there'll be people who will be encouraging because there is a social advantage or some, nobody wants to say, I think your stuff sucks. But there can definitely be some cases where you hear that from somebody you never actually see. And I don't know. It sometimes gets a little hard to handle especially when some other other challenges are coming up. So it's worth saying, I know I didn't do great tonight. I'm really glad that somebody left me a nice message, which definitely has done something to help me out. But the fact that, you've shown up, you've spent the time with me, does mean a whole lot. And I do appreciate your contributions in chat. I appreciate you hanging out as concurrent viewers. We'll get through Hollow Knight. I'm not quite sure what it will take for me to get past this particular Pantheon, but I think I'll be able to see it through. As always, I leave myself the option of practicing on my own time. I'm going to try and make it so that I don't... I don't have too many stream-worthy things done at once, but yeah, I think I gotta call it because I'm late and I need to do something for me. I think I'm sorry. I try not to let bad stuff infect the stream, but it's been a little bit hard to shake. So I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get some water, maybe have some dinner. Oh, you know what? That's it. I haven't had dinner yet. That's probably why I'm sour. But there is somebody who I would really like to point you at. So I realize that, I like Apex Legends. You may not. I will point out, however, that Brian on the Rocks is a game designer at Respawn. He's somebody I've had the privilege of knowing in Vancouver. He's incredibly positive. He's a really great guy. And I've been really excited to see him it really feels like his life and career has taken off in a way that wasn't true back when I knew him. And I've been incredibly happy to see that growth on his part. He is also just a great example of a developer who is incredibly engaged with his audience. Obviously, Apex is huge. If you had any questions for him about game design, how do you get into the games industry, what are you thinking about when you do X, Y, and Z? He's not going to answer stuff that, about what the next legend is or anything like that. He's not going to break NDAs. He is incredibly open and transparent about the process. And Valiant Cheese is great for that as well. He's an independent developer who does this stuff. But sometimes people look at independent developers and say, well, it's not the same. I want to be making big games. Respawn's done Titanfall. They've done Jedi Fallen Order. They've done Apex Legends. It's hard not to find somebody who's better. So definitely enjoy Brian. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching.